your new social lubricant. Broadcasting from Atlanta, you're in the hub.
Good day and Merry Christmas Kwanzaa. I'm your host, Joel Aaron, with Jared all week long on the program. There's something really interesting came out yesterday, a couple of days ago. The U.S. District Court judge in Virginia, Henry Hudson, actually reneged on some of the lower courts and said that the new health care bill the president has put forth is, go figure, unconstitutional because of the individual mandate. And I know you work around this stuff. You work around health insurance. Yep. So, I mean, you're jumping up and down, right? This is like the second coming for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it had mixed reviews in the office because people know that the individual mandate is quite important for the health care reform law to work, if it is going to work. But
you don't believe it's going to work.
I don't believe it's going to work. But if it has a snowball's chance in hell, it has to have the individual mandate. But I think this was absolutely a great ruling. It is absolutely an infringement upon your rights because by the mere fact that you're breathing in air, you then have to purchase a product, and that is completely unconstitutional. The government cannot tell you and force you to do anything. The rub in this, though, is that if the courts only strike down this part of the law, which is what this court did, and granted, this fight is long from over, but if they only strike down this part of the law, the health care bill will put health insurance companies out of business because you cannot sustain the cost that they're going to have to take on with all the other regulations if you don't also force everybody to buy insurance so that they can spread the risk out.
See, Tracy Schmaler, though, and I don't know how you argue with this logic, Tracy Schmaler, who is a representative of the administration on this, said that there was nothing unlawful or unconstitutional about this because the Constitution, the courts have set a clear and legal precedent that it is constitutional. That was her argument. Yeah. There's a clear and legal precedent set, Jared. So you just need to pull back a little bit. When there's a clear and legal precedent, what more do you need to know? That's clear and legal. It's a precedent.
10 people in a nightgown all agree that this is okay, and then therefore it is, and we don't need to talk to those 8 that have the ultimate say.
Thank God Justice is blind because she doesn't have any fashion sense. But I do have to think that. I mean, Robert Gibbs doesn't believe Justice is blind because he said, no, obviously this is completely believable because this was a George Bush 1 appointee. Why wouldn't he go this route, you know?
Yeah. Ultimately, it's going to the Supreme Court, though, so they can complain about it all they want, but this is a huge win for those of us that did not like the bill. It's going to go to the appellate court and then to the Supreme Court unless the Supreme Court steps in and takes it immediately. The interesting part of this, though, is that it's only going to be an 8-seated court in the Supreme Court because Kagan is expected to recuse herself. So you could end up with a split decision, and then I don't know what you do at that point. You Rochambeau for it or something.
Well, and one of the things right now, I mean, a lot of folks, and this has been my argument about everything that's going on right now with the debate in Congress over the tax extensions and what the decision they're making on that right now, is that ultimately there are two groups of folks here in liberal Democrats right now that don't understand that are angry about this idea, calling it a compromise, for one of two different reasons. One group doesn't know what the hell economic policy is and how it works, and the other group is really in on the political theater, is in on the shell game, because they understand they have to have and hold the executive after 2012 to basically safely see safe passage to all of these poison pills that have been put in place with things like the health care bill. And if they do not have an Obama or a Clinton or a whoever it might be after 2012, there's a good chance of this thing being overturned. And I don't know this and other things. So I mean, that's why we trot out America's first black president on TV last week. Who am I speaking of? Bill Clinton, for an hour and a half, roughly 45 minutes, I guess, of a press conference.
It felt like an hour and a half, though.
It really did. I mean, he was in his element.
It was an hour and a half worth of entertainment, that's for sure. That was the most amazing spectacle I have ever seen.
I heard he bit his lip again. He bit his lip a lot, did he? To me, was that not amazing to you?
It was. It was amazing that one, they got him out of his corner of the Oval Office, and kept him away from the interns that long. But then just for him to be on stage and at the mic was one. I felt like I had slipped into a wormhole and really was, and so I wasn't sure if I was happy or overly sad about it. I'm not sure if he's an improvement or not over Obama at this point.
Well, the funny thing, I mean, I'm trying to get the visual here. They're saying that, I mean, the two of them met, President Obama and former President Clinton, for a little powwow in the Oval Office before they came in to do this press conference. Press conference is completely unscheduled, and they walk out, and Obama's like, I like the way you think, and Clinton's like, drop. No, and but no, seriously. I mean, so they come to this agreement that they're going to hold this press conference without scheduling it. Gibbs didn't know anything about it. The press corps didn't know anything about it, and they just go trotting down the hall to try and open the door, walk in, and hold a press conference, whether there are cameras there or not. They couldn't get the door open because the door was locked. So you've got two presidents of the United States, because there were two that day, if you missed it, and it did not involve Slow Joe. But there are two presidents walking around the White House like they're on a scavenger hunt for a key or something.
Yeah.
Knocking on doors. You got a key to the press room? You got a key to the press room?
Yeah. Key and their lost power. That's pretty much what they were both looking for.
Exactly.
It was very scary. But we did find out one thing from all this, and that is that the real power in the White House runs through Michelle, because Obama said, I have to go. My wife is really angry.
I have to go hide behind a skirt, my spouse's skirt right now. Let's turn the business over to the big man in the room.
And we all know that Bill does not listen to his wife. So
So I mean, he's
not too concerned.
That was called political compromise.
Yes.
That was a trade-off there. The thing about it is though, after the showmanship of one president just throwing all caution to the wind and turning the stage over to a Clinton. Is the issue itself the issue of the day? I mean, everything the media has talked about has been, this is a compromise. This is a compromise. Republicans are getting part of what they want. Democrats are getting part of what they want, because we're extending the cuts. In other words, we're giving the cuts to the American people. No, you're not. You're extending existing cuts. You're not making any new cuts. Nothing changes other than you just allow the status quo to continue and not become worse off than it already is. But I mean, there are a lot of issues that I have with this compromise legislation. It's not really.
This is a lose. This is a big lose for the Republicans, and I would really like to go up there and just knock on some doors and say, "Excuse me, were you guys not paying attention? And did you forget that when you come back, you're going to have majority in this House, and you're going to have a much bigger group of people in the Senate to work with? And this is the best compromise you can come up with. I mean, granted, you're going to have to compromise on it to some extent, but what they've done now, this is a horrible deal, and they should stand up on it on principle and against the spending, because that is what everybody has sent them up there for. And
a lot of people are concerned that, if we do that, if we wait until next year, January, February, new group comes in, the president will not okay tax cuts at that point. Like hell he won't, because we'll all still know that he has the power to either provide relief to the American taxpayer or not.
Yeah, give us. If he doesn't want to do it, I'd like to see what his prospects are in the election after a year of higher taxes.
Yeah,
how much with no jobs and higher taxes and probably worse economic outlook.
For the same reason he says he wants to do it.
Go ahead, call the bluff.
For the same reason he wants to do it now, he will do it then. And
absolutely.
And that's the point. But the difference is you won't have an extension of unemployment benefits for the next 13 months. You won't have an extension of embedded welfare, $80 billion worth of welfare embedded in the tax system that is extended through this bill. There are a lot of things you won't have that this bill puts forth.
Yeah, the spending in this is atrocious, and another year of unemployment is just unbelievable.
Yeah,
I don't think there's no chance that they'll extend it again, because that gives them a perfect timing for people to come off of unemployment in time for the economy to rebound for the next election. But all we're doing is extending another year's worth of bad economic times and no jobs by extending how long people can stay on unemployment.
Yeah, and 2 years telling a small businessman, I get 2 more years of cuts, and then it's up in the air. That's not going to reassure anyone I know who's a small to medium-sized or big business owner to make new hires and change the way they're doing business. There's no security in that. And after all, that's the whole reason we have the tax cuts to begin with. We'll see you tomorrow on The Hub.
I have a general rule, which is that if whatever he asks me about my advice and whatever I say should become public only if he decides to make it public. He can say whatever he wants, but
what do you think? Here's what I'll say is I've been keeping the First Lady waiting for about half an hour, so I'm going to take off.
And I don't want to make her mad. Please go.
You're in good hands, and Gibbs will call last question.
Yeah, help me. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Will only come to this conclusion: love and marriage